Hey. Cheers.
Cheers, Andrea.
Cheers. Welcome to Sandei, no?
Yes.
It's Sunday and we're not at home behind the computers, just catching up with deadlines and
yeah, a bit of freedom.
yeah, exactly. It's weird a bit. It's really like going out of our comfort zone, just doing this, because usually we're just antisocial,
Yes.
more like introverts, sitting back, working a lot, working too much.
And listening to music.
And listening to music, yeah. Like everything we do goes around
And comes around.
music. Yeah, and comes around music in the end.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's how we met, actually.
Yeah, through music.
With music. Music that connected us and everyone around us.
Yeah, I think it had to be like that in a way.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny, like sometimes you just don't even have to know somebody that well, that you connect through these outside things, and it just makes sense in the end. Like the boys were before us were talking a lot about beginnings and how it all started, and how it all started with Sandei. And for me, like, all that I started that was successful in the end was because of why not, or a situation like that where I just didn't care, and I was like, just fuck that, I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna do it. And in the end it goes really, really surprisingly well. Yeah.
Yes.
So thinking about how I began everything makes me wonder why I don't have that innocence anymore, because I really didn't care about what is gonna come, like what the result is gonna be. It just happened. So I'm still in this loop, always and always. How did you?
Yeah, but that's pretty cool. I mean, I had the same way. I didn't really plan this.
Yeah.
Like, in a way, it just came to me. Because I was, like, since I was a child, I was always surrounded by music, with music. I also studied music.
You studied music?
Yeah, because I remember my mom was asking, like, okay, in which school you would like to apply and go? And I was like, yeah, I don't know, I just want to draw. Mm-hmm. And basically I couldn't attend, like, from the first grade drawing class.
Yeah.
So I had the choice to just, like, go with music. So I was studying 4 years music. And then I just, like, couldn't wait for the 5th grade so I can start to draw. So basically that's how it was, in a parallel situation, that it was music and drawing at the same time. So it just got stuck with me. And yeah, now it's just, like, all connected. So it's really cool, I think.
So you studied, like, piano and
I was playing.
You were singing?
Piano. Also singing and also piano.
Oh, wow.
But since then I never played piano, which is a shame a bit, but I was, like, so into drawing that I actually just...
But it's really cool you had this in the beginning, and then you just switched to another thing. I had it backwards.
Yeah.
Like I from the 5th grade I was studying arts and painting and graphic arts and sculpture and all kinds of things in the school. And then I started to get more and more in love with music and trying to explore what's behind that, but I never played something, so I have no information about theory. Everything I learned by myself.
Yeah, but that's also really nice.
Indeed.
Self-taught in a way. Like, if you're interested, you're, like, getting there anyway, even if you're studying or not.
Do you think you are self-taught, like, in your job, doing graphic design too?
Yeah, that was definitely. Yeah. I mean, I learned the basics in school. Yeah. I had this freedom to, like, try everything from sculpture, painting, drawing, but I stuck with graphics, the traditional one, and I was never thinking that I'm going to do such a thing in digital. So I was like, I couldn't ever imagine that I'm going to just sit in front of the computer and then just draw, you know. But yeah, somehow life brought me this thing, and I had to self-taught myself, learning these programs and how they are working through YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like 9+ years that I'm doing this. It's so weird.
How long has it been for me, I think? Like, since I'm doing this for a job, like, yeah, almost 10 years also. Yeah.
Time flies.
But I was really on that mental set that I have to fake it until I make it, even though I know how to start producing images like for clients. I was really putting myself out there and just waiting for things to happen.
Yeah, I had the same. Like that's how I actually started. I just tried to try out things digitally, but I never really thought of like this is gonna be my job or this is what I'm gonna do daily. And then meanwhile, I was listening to music and getting like I was a teenager, you know, and getting into this nightlife thing. And then I started to attend like parties and festivals. And then I think just like freestyle way, I just started to make posters and stuff. And that's how it got to me in a way that friends actually told me like, oh, are we gonna throw a party? Would you like to do a poster for it and stuff like that? So I forced myself to trying to create something in digital.
Yeah.
And then.
And at the same time, didn't you had the this thing in your mind that you have to teach yourself more digital techniques just for you to make stuff more faster, putting it out there more easily. Like you can communicate with people that are not in Romania, and you can work with somebody from across the globe, and it's a connection and it's happening.
Yeah, it was not like really in my mind. It was not that obvious or clear, but it just, I don't know, I just did what I did and it just came to me. And then I realized like, oh, maybe I'm really, I should do this or just like put more effort into this or... And also for you, it's like really interesting because you're doing illustration and how you interpret music by that. It's, how did you get here?
For me, it's still fascinating in a way that I think is the most complicated thing that I could possibly put myself into, like depicting sound in any visual way. It's hard. It's super hard. And like I wanted to ask you at some point further, like, how do you manage to disconnect yourself from that, because it's a lot of feeling you put into the process because it's connected to music. When it's about like a release or something you have to make a cover for and you don't really enjoy it, you know it's good, let's say you know it's good, but it's not really on your plate, and then you still have to do your job.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest part actually.
Yeah, that's the hardest part.
Because there are some fields or like styles or genres that I'm really familiar with. Yeah. And that's, of course, it's easy because I already have an image in my mind, like how I would interpret it visually and what shapes, colors I would use. But when it comes to something which I'm not so, I mean, I don't hate it, but it's just like, it's not really my style. It's a really hard process till I'm gonna get there, because it's like really hard to listen to that music, but I have to, because otherwise I won't connect in that.
Like how many times do you have to listen to something
not
before?
That much.
Not that much?
Not that much. I give it like I don't know, a few times, but then it's still, I remember it. Yeah. So I don't need to constantly listen to the same thing, because that just makes me stuck, you know. It's like that repeating thing, it just gets me to okay, it's just enough, and I'm gonna just let my brain do the rest of the
translation.
Yeah. Trying to just like think in colors and shapes and forms what it gives me, and then maybe when I'm halfway at the work, I'm gonna listen it again, that track or like EP or album or anything, and. Or maybe just other stuff from the same artist or label. Yeah, because then I can get the bigger picture.
Just to get yourself into the feeling more.
Yeah.
Like you asked me about illustration before. It was, I think it was kind of an accident. Like I have two moments since I was in school that I really wanted to quit. I thought I shouldn't do this. This is not for me. Who am I fooling? I'm not talented, because I knew how to do like all the technical stuff. I knew how to draw correctly. I knew how to make a portrait that looks like that person, and I knew how to draw. But on the creative part, I sucked. I was like 0. And during university, I had a big frustration with this because I had stuff in my mind, but I had no idea how to put it out there because I didn't have the right medium.
Yeah.
Because I had to do like painting or seal screen or whatever other techniques during university. And I met some professors during my Erasmus that were like, you should try illustration. You should try illustration because I think digital is gonna suit you better, and you might be able to make connections, like work with book publishers or do more posters and stuff like that. So I kind of tried to understand how illustration works, because even now, if I say to somebody I'm an illustrator, they're like,
but what do you do?
What was that? Yeah, and I draw, and they're like, okay. Yeah. So it's like that.
Yeah, but that's really nice that actually they saw in you what you're good in it, or like how can you express more freely. Because for me, I was also like studying this portrait and stuff, but I never felt it. Like I was like, I can't do this. I mean, it's not for, I understand it, but I really like more in an abstract or non-figurative stuff. So what I actually learned in school and helped me to like get my style and try to express myself. Now it's a bit different with this digital world and thing, because it have to be, you know, they are like constructed and they are like basics you have to do, and sometimes I really, with music it's really nice because I can just like let myself.
How much of your process when you work, let's say you don't have a project that is music related at all, you have your day job or whatever other project, how much of your routine is based on music? Like for me, when I'm sitting at the computer, I need like at least 1 hour of accommodation when I find the right playlist or the right sets to listen. And I know you don't listen to sets, I listen to sets, and that saves a lot of time. So I don't really know how you manage, but how do you?
I mean, I just wake up and then I just have a feeling, you know, like, okay, I'm in this flow or that flow. Maybe it's like a more faster or up-tempo kind of a day, or maybe I'm just super chill, or sometimes I just listen to hip-hop or stuff like that. But I have prepared like all my playlists, so I'm not really, I don't know, spending time with just finding some. But if I'm struggling, then I rather choose not to listen to anything. Sometimes that's the answer for me. That I'm like just like, this is not good, that is not good, like this is not working, this is bothering me, that's too fast, that's too slow. So I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop it, and I'm not gonna listen to anything, and just that's it.
For me, that works only when I have to do like animation or something that it takes a lot of patience in the process, and I don't really have to be distracted by anything else. And it's weird that I'm addicted to music when I work. It is like that.
Yeah, this is the good word, because it's like not obsession or something. It's more. It's like addiction.
I thought I'm okay and I can work without it, but. Like the process really depends on it, and as the time passed and I started more to have projects connected with music, that thing really made more sense to me, and I was like, yeah, it's right. It's not really just in my mind. If I have to illustrate for a set, or I have to do branding, or I have to work for the label, doing merchandise or whatever else, it's based on music. So I really have to repeat that a lot.
Yes.
Until the point I hate it, like the person who does it. I'm sure of it.
It's enough.
Yeah, and then I put it out there. I hate it immediately, and then people come back with feedback to me, and they say like, yeah, it really like looks like how it sounds. How did you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't.
I think it's a love and hate thing. I mean, it's like not hate, but you love it and you do it, and at the end you just get there that it's okay, it was just too much. You know, you don't know if it ended up like in a good way, or you actually did what you really wanted to do. But it's always, I think you just have to listen to the feedbacks, what others are saying, because it's so much happening in you also, I think, meanwhile working, and how you get there, and that it's really hard to be like looking at it in an objective way, because it's totally...
Maybe that's how you know you need to stop. It's not like, yeah, I'm finished. It's like, no, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it anymore. I think it's done.
Or you just want to start it over and then you just don't have time. And then
Well, it's really like a process I still have to explain to myself that I'm not really sure of what I'm doing when I'm doing it. Maybe it's not professional of me to say it. But even when we collaborated for Vitamine, for all the artworks we did, we didn't spoke about it.
I really liked it because actually we made this like, I remember, which was really cool, and also it was like a really good experiment.
Yeah.
Because first I did the basics, or maybe the opposite way, but then after you saw what I did, you created the illustration, and then we switched.
Yeah.
That you gave me the illustrations, and then I just made the graphic.
I think we changed the process a lot.
Yeah, and that was really good because
sometimes maybe I didn't have ideas and you had ideas at first, and I was going along with your vision, and then it went backwards. But the thing that we didn't spoke, like we didn't have the brief. Nobody told us what to do. We had the lineup, we had the dates. Okay, it's happening. We have to do something.
Yeah, we had this totally creative freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it really worked out well. I mean, I always remember it. It was such a, like, it was not suffocating or something like, okay, I don't know how to do it, because it was, of course, we had to think how to do it, but I think it just came out in a really good way.
And mostly because of the passion for music, the addiction for music, the
we both know
constant
the world
need of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because that's how we met too, and that's how I met the boys at Vitamine. That's how I met with the Jordan, who I'm working with now for the label. That's how a lot of things just happened because of this. Why not? Let's do this. Why not? Let's do this. Why not?
Yeah, sometimes maybe it's the best way.
Let's just try it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, for me it was also the same, because actually then I just moved back from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And for me, like, I never lived in Cluj, but I was like, I grew up almost like in Gazette, because I came like every weekend to a party, because at home we didn't have this more underground scene. So as I came back and then I met you, and then we had this, you asked me to let's collaborate, I was like, yeah, it's so nice that actually I came back and I like instantly I was into what I really wanted to do. So it was such a great experience.
Did you usually have this feeling when you go to an event or a place you really like, and you're like, their artwork doesn't really match what they sell? Should I like tell them?
Oh my god, I had like so many like projects for myself. I was like, I don't care, I'm just gonna do like for events posters how I imagine it, or how I would think it would work, and just send it to them, without asking them, like, just you see, you can do it. But yeah, sometimes this is what I was thinking actually, because there are like some trends in music, in this visually, like there are like if you look at a poster, it's already which genre it is. It's like a psychedelic or Goa or like a house or whatever. Yeah. And sometimes these trends just appear, and then every party, doesn't matter what kind of style, is just like based on that trend or style. And I don't know if you don't.
Yeah, I noticed.
Yeah, you noticed also, but I really don't like to just go after trends. I mean, I know them, but I try to put it in my design or in my way, in my own way, to make it my own, and then maybe take some parts which I like, but like not. You also have a style, but you make it every project your own, I guess. Like.
I was thinking maybe. Do you think like some genres have a specific look?
Yeah,
and maybe when somebody breaks that pattern, it makes it more appealing to the public. Like we heard this thing about people coming to the parties more based on what they saw before, and they were like, I had no idea who was gonna play. I'm not interested in this kind of things. Like I'm not looking up the artist before I go to the event, but I really liked how it looked, and in the morning I really felt like it did this job. How does that work?
I know, it can be tricky.
Yeah.
It can be really tricky because as I started to search music, after, I don't know, a while, I realized that actually I'm selecting by its cover.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is a nice cover, probably the music should be really awesome. But sometimes I was like, oh, it's not that great as I was thinking, because it gave me the false image, kind of. So, I don't know, I usually try not to really judge, the book by its cover. But at the same time, I'm really judging.
I really do, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So sometimes I'm just like, okay, I just forget about how the poster or cover looks like, and then I just really focus on music, especially when I'm digging music. I'm like, then I'm really not selecting. I'm like, it doesn't matter how good the cover looks like or not. I'm just like going through everything, because sometimes people can do or pay for a cover, or,
yeah, exactly.
and then
or
they just like do themselves how they can. Yeah.
If they don't have the right
and maybe they produce a really good
budget
music.
or
exactly.
like energy to put it out there with a nice artwork.
Yeah, so that's why it's tricky.
Doesn't mean it's not good enough.
Exactly.
But if you see that somebody really had put the effort in it to make it really attracting.
Yeah, maybe sometimes I would be happy, if maybe the poster or like an album cover doesn't look that good, but then I get this totally good, positive experience that I'm like, oh, but the music is like, wow, and then maybe I forget about what I saw.
Yeah.
Instead of like, oh, something is really looking good on the outside, and then the music is like, it's not that for my style, because we are so different.
How do you think, like talking about beginnings, and I'm thinking about new beginnings post-lockdown, new beginnings post-pandemic. Because I was telling you how my taste really changed a lot because of the absence of the events, and because I was not sharing that musical experience with somebody else. It really went like a more meditative experience. I was starting to listen to more ambient and jazz, and my interest went to different places. And now that I have to make again artworks for music and for events that are going to happen, I feel like I've lost it in a way. I feel like I don't know how to do my job anymore.
Oh.
But like changing a bit the scheme of things made me look at everything from a different perspective also, because seeing how artworks look like for other kind of music and how they are like selling the events and making their promotion, it really changes the atmosphere a lot now.
Yeah, and do you think that is kind of like, I can't find the word. I mean, you don't know, for example, how to interpret some music that you're working on and you have to make a cover because you're just stuck in this state? You said no, a little bit, like, and but do you like to try to find some inspiration, or you try to get out from this by yourself, or it's just a hard thing, I guess?
It's a hard thing, yeah. Because sometimes you just, I act a lot by my gut feelings, and when I'm really stuck and I don't know how to do something, or like when I have a creative block, God forbid. That's the ouchie of the ouchies. I really have to look for inspiration, and usually when I look for inspiration, it's in the past. Not so often from other people I like who are in the field, especially Floating Bastard, who is this amazing illustrator, graphic designer. He's also a DJ, he's a biker, he's everything, he does everything, and every time I see a cover by him, it's fresh, it's attracting, he does his job right, and you really want to see what is it about that thing you just saw on the internet. And I think Yeah, like we usually see these things on the internet, and it's a bit frustrating. Like I'm sick of like starting a file and making it specifically for Instagram. And what we changed a bit with Vitamine was that we started to make posters.
Yeah.
And we started to see the posters in town, and people were asking about the posters, and they were taking the posters from the party to just to have them in the rooms. And that's really, really cool.
Yeah, and that's really, it's a missing point, like especially here, that like everything went really digital, and then you cannot like have it physically. Like the same with music, you have everything, it's like really digital, got more like trendy or whatever, and then you cannot really touch it physically, and then you do some art which is like basically just scroll through it and you're not really saving it or whatever. You just remember, maybe I saw something nice, but you can't ever find it again.
Because you change your techniques also when you know you have to make something that makes people stop. And it's different from when you make something that's going to be printed and it is an object and it's going to stay there until somebody's burning it. I don't know, but you have it. It's in your hands and it's working.
I'm curious. Like, do you have at your home or in your room like your own art on the wall?
I avoid to. But lately I've started to accept it.
Yeah.
Like the main exercise was to put something old.
Yeah.
And by old I mean something from 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. Because now when I look back to something that I did 3 years ago, I don't recognize the same person in the style. And I'm feeling everybody is gonna see that, and I'm not that person anymore, but it's a constant thing. Like,
that's why I think it's nice, because I remember once my sister told me like, oh, I don't understand you, Ruth. I mean, you have all these posters in your room and none of them it's made by you actually, just a few.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, because I'm like watching them and I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do this or that like that, and I would change it, and then I'm just getting really nervous, like why, but then I realized it's actually like a really good feedback all the time, because like this is how I also learn, because I'm like, okay, I learned that, I see it, okay, it's like it wasn't a huge mistake, but I'm learning from that, and then maybe next time I'm just gonna keep in mind that, and also I see how I evolve, because like we are changing all the time.
Yeah,
we're
all the time. And like, that's why keeping up with trends is not the thing.
Styles or colors.
You just have to keep up with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's gonna be just the right thing.
Yeah.
I have the Khadija poster in my room because it was.
I never got that print.
No.
No.
Actually, the print is not that good as the digital, and that's a thing. I think I learned on the way too. Like some things don't look good on print as they do digitally.
Yeah. Especially when you're not thinking first in printing, just like. You print it after the digital is done, and then it's a totally different thing actually.
And you think it's your own fault and you messed it up, but no, it's not really like that.
Yeah, I remember we did one of my favorites, by the way, what we collaborated on. What was the I think it was the Jordan one with the colorful.
Yeah, Jordan and Dance Shake.
Yeah, that one, and then the Chaos in the CBD.
And
as I remember, the print version was like you couldn't even see anything. Yeah. I tried to use these really neon colors, and also you with the.
And they pop on the screen because
it was like in the print. I was like, where is the text? I cannot see it.
I can't even see the date when it's gonna happen.
I actually would like to see that printed again. But like in like really how it should be. I really like that one. It was
like we talked with the boys also that we should exhibit those at some time. It's just to see for us the process, how time passed. Like we even tried the layout once, we changed it, then.
Yeah, and then the new season came, and then with the MIDI we tried another thing.
And then we did the t-shirts and the long sleeves and everything.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's a hard question, but like if you would like to work with a label you really like from now.
With a label?
With a music label you really like. It doesn't matter from where, how big it is, how small it is. Do you know? Have you ever thought like just
which label?
Approaching some other business, some other label, and just say like, hey, I really like the music. I think I'm really a good fit.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, I like Classe Rex. I don't know how you spell it. It's like I think it's from Japan, and I really like their variety of music. But there are a lot. I mean, I cannot even think of like one, but there are a lot. But I think also these favorites of mine, they are really good in design way.
Yeah.
Also in music, and also they are.
That's why it's attracting, no?
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, of course I would like to get into working with some of those, but I don't know. I just don't have that much of self. How it's called. I don't believe that much in myself. I don't know. That's just a thing that.
Yeah, we have imposter syndrome. All
yeah,
of us
exactly.
Creatives,
So I'm like all the time, like maybe I would fit, but maybe I'm not good enough. So I just like let it go. But maybe one time will come that I'm gonna do it.
I think we should just try it.
Like, yeah, I mean.
Why not? Why not? For me, it's Hivern.
Okay.
So if Talabot is watching.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I really
Jordan,
have fingers crossed one day. Yes, exactly.
But all the other small labels, I think they are starting to rise now more.
Yeah, with the lockdown actually.
Even because of the lockdown, because of Bandcamp Friday or.
Yeah, there are a lot of good music.
Yeah, a lot of good things are getting out there, and they need good artworks. I think I run out of questions or ideas. I think even when I started with Vitamine with the boys, it was just because of a message I sent, and I was like, "Don't you guys think we should try it? Let's try it. Let's try to see how it works," and it worked. And
exactly.
Like as the time passed, they didn't even have to say, "Oh, I want it to be yellow," and or you should like draw a smiley face or something because it's gonna connect. Like it just went.
Yeah, but
from
also
there.
I think when you're brave enough to do this step, I think people also like gain your trust in a way, and they just trust you. So they're like not questioning so many things. Like, okay, why did you use this color? Because you know why you do it.
Yeah.
It's
as there are trends that make you use some symbols or like fonts or forms more easily to depict something, like you know your thing.
Yeah, I'm also like really obsessed with this smiley face symbol, but I never really used it on any of my.
Maybe because you see it too much, or you think about it too much.
No, because I think it can get like a really overused something in a way, or they use it in a lot of ways in which they don't really have a place, or just because it's like it's a rave culture symbol and.
That's why
it doesn't have to appear necessarily.
I got really, really bored of drawing disco balls, and at some point I was like, again, and now again another disco ball. Now a disco ball that is opening, and a man with a disco ball hat.
Yeah. There are, of course, ways where it's like really it's working, but some ways I think it's just less is more. I mean, even if it's like disco, you don't have to put the disco ball. I mean, you can create.
That's a thing that I should like tattoo on my forehead or like put it in front of my screen. Less is more. It really is, and I'm always forgetting it. I'm starting with putting there a lot of things, a lot of ideas. I want everything in that little square, just to show how many symbols or how many colors or how this font can match with anything. And about fonts, like I suck at it. I always find it more easily like just to draw the text because I can't make up my mind on just one typeface. And that's why I think we matched so well in the end too, because it just went like this.
Yeah.
Cheers to that. I guess. I hope.